Hey there, fellow readers, Mrs. Wyman here, and today we're going to be talking about the incredible middle grade novel, The One and Only Ivan, by the one and only Katherine Applegate, an amazing author if you have never read any of her works. So this book is about a gorilla, and his name is Ivan, and unfortunately when Ivan was a baby, he and his twin sister Tag were actually kidnapped. They were taken from their jungle home in Africa, and they were sent to the United States aboard a cargo ship, and unfortunately Ivan spent most of his young life living like a little kid human would with this guy named Mac, who bought him ice cream and put him in diapers and basically tried to raise poor Ivan the gorilla as Ivan his son, which you can imagine might lead to some tension when Ivan becomes a really big full-grown gorilla. So unfortunately for Ivan, for the past over 20 years of his life, he's actually been living in this roadside zoo, this mega mart attraction, right, just off of the highway. And Ivan is supposed to be one of the stars of the show. Everybody comes from miles around to see this mighty gorilla, this mighty silverback that is Ivan. Well, unfortunately, Ivan's life is really lonely. There's the tourists at the mall, and he has his really good friend Stella, right? And of course, there's this scrappy little dog named Bob, right, who also keeps Ivan company. But it's sort of lonely because he's the only gorilla and he lives in this tiny little cage and he's never allowed to leave. And it's kind of just an awful experience. But the one thing that kind of gets Ivan through his days is his ability to paint, and he's truly an artist, and that's how he expresses all of his emotions and his feelings and his thoughts. But of course, he's a gorilla, so he usually paints bananas and crayons and things that people aren't really quite sure what they are. However, one day life changes very drastically because this new baby elephant named Rubey arrives at the mall. Right, and Stella tells Ivan, we have to do something. There's no way Rubey can grow up like we did. We need to find her a new home. And so Ivan quickly discovers that maybe the only way that he can ever find Rubey a truly happy place to call home, or a happier place to call home, is through his art. If you have never read this novel, I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of those books that makes you feel, it's one of those books that makes you think, and it's one of those books that you just fall in love with Ivan and Rubey and Bob and Stella and all of the other people who come to interact with the Big Top Mall. Hope to see you all online soon.